Hello there. Uh, Welcome to another talk. It's very early in the morning just now. I don't know exactly the time, but I think it's about 5 in the morning. And I get up early every day. The time I get up every day can be any time between 3 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock in the morning. 9 o'clock in the morning being the latest. I don't sleep in longer than 9. And I usually go to my room 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, uh, and I go to bed 10 o'clock. Because when I'm in my room, I meditate, listen to audiobooks. You've obviously, if you follow me, you can see my candles and the lights in my room, and sometimes I put on these talks as well. And this talk is called Talk on the Angelic Signs, How to Let Go and Align with Your Divine Higher Self. Now, this is in relation to spiritual awakening. And this is what happened to me just under 10 years ago. Under 10 years ago, I was 24, when I had my awakening. And ever since then, I get new awakenings every other day. And 34 this year, so just under 10 years. Now, what happened to me at the age of 24 was I sat down one day, I had enough, and I knew everything was going to change. And after then, I went on this spiritual transformation. Where it's a pathway of letting go of unconscious traumas, you could say, because that's basically what the problem is on the planet. That's why I don't talk about COVID-19 or any of the political stuff now, because you get censored also, but that's not the real core issues. The core issues on the planet is the very things I've been healing from since my unexpected spiritual awakening. When I first had the awakening, I've spoken about this before, I went through a rebirth. I was getting not voices, but thought forms. And people have told me there's a thing called oversoul. And information I was getting, thought forms about what I was going through. Some people believe some religious people believe that when you go through the rebirth, Christ has entered your body. I don't know if that's true, but I'm not religious, but it's coming from your higher self, right? And if you want to believe that's Jesus, I'm not going to get in the way of that. But yeah, and I went through this process, this rebirth, and I got to experience being born all over again. And I believe that is my belief is because because only a little part of your soul is here. This is what James Van Praagh says. The very famous medium, and he says only a little part of your soul is here. And spiritual awakening, what's happened is the higher part of your soul has now come in and is connected with you. So I think that if you come into the reality, you've got to go through a birth. That's why I think the rebirth happened. But moving on from that, I went in this pathway of healing, letting go. And this is how you align, this is how you spiritually awaken yourself. You just basically let go. That's kittens, in case you didn't know what that noise was. If you want to spiritually awaken yourself, you've just got to be heart-based, right? And I invented something which I call the angelic signs. It came to me in one of my spiritual awakenings, as I said, I get every other day, and it's quite recent. And I thought of this thing where I thought, those moments when we feel we're judging someone are actually opportunities to practice being non-judgmental, having love and compassion for people, and practicing having empathy. And ultimately, this develops unconditional love. That's what that does. So really, those opportunities, those things where you're about to judge someone, are like divine moments if you turn it around and you practice being non-judgmental, having love and compassion. So then that's what I called it the angelic signs, because it is like angelic signs in a way. Because if you choose to not be judgmental in that moment, you actually ascend and you align with your divine higher self. And when you practice this, this is a one way of a very powerful way of letting go. Because the reason the reason you got all these people you get on the internet now calling everyone narcissists is because they are the narcissists. It's like what Carl Jung spoke about, the psychiatrist. That that's the shadow self, that's the unconscious self, and how you heal that unconscious self is just catch yourself in those moments when you're about to judge someone or you're feeling judgmental, and capture that moment. Now, how your body feels in that moment, that's the trauma that's made you want to do that. And meditate on the feeling. And what's happening is the trauma has revealed itself to you in that moment. And practice that every time you react. When you want something, you see a lot of this in drug abuse or alcohol abuse. I'm someone that suffered from that as well when I was younger. I don't drink alcohol at all now. I like supplements now. But it's not drugs. It's like herbs and plants and capsules. Good things are good for you. But I used to take drugs and alcohol. I remember I couldn't walk down an alcohol aisle in a shop without getting shaky. That, and what that shaky feeling is, I don't get it now. That's trauma. And childhood trauma clings to things to comfort itself. I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, but I've learned all this from my spiritual awakening. Because that's what it was, and that's why everyone that has a spiritual awakening, they all develop at least one gift. Some of them, end up being mediums, and a few of them I've saw are that. My mum's a medium, and my mum is a transfiguration medium. She used to take spirits through people's faces, and you could see them. The gift I got from my spiritual awakening was healing. Now, just by the way, before I had this awakening, no one in my family knew what an awakening was. My mum's family are just psychic and mediums and, come off traveling people. So that's how she's got that gift. I wasn't really as gifted at it, although I did communicate with my grandma when I was younger. That happened. But I wasn't as gifted as my mum regarding that kind of stuff. I didn't nothing like that. It wasn't until the spiritual awakening came that something started to happen. But also, before I was born, a lot of mediums believe that you have a pre-birth plan as well. So maybe that's why I had to have my mum, you see. Because it's in relation to your energy. Everything's in relation to your energy. That's why you're responsible for everything. You create it through your own energy. You manifest your parents even. But I'm not going to go off topic here. I'm going to go back to the topic in hand. Yeah. And so that nervousness and that you feel when you want something, yeah, if you meditate on it, that feeling, what happens is that the trauma has revealed itself to you there. That's how you let go. And as you do this more and more, you're letting go, you're aligning with your higher self. Now, I went through a traumatic spiritual awakening. I believe it was karma I was paying back. And I believe that because I had that traumatic awakening, you don't have to. I give awakening hacks in ways so that you don't have you still face the trauma, but if you use meditation, you can actually face meditation allows you to face the traumas and understand them, but without being in the harsh reality of them, but you still understand them, which is really good. It's very important to understand your traumas, but you don't need to really experience the harshness of it, or be traumatized, by it. But that's what meditation does. Meditation in general allows you to access really hard parts of yourself, but not being but you're not traumatized by it, which is really good. But yeah, so practice that every time you want something, or any time your cortisol goes up. That's the stress hormone. When you get that negative reaction, that right there is the unconscious trauma, and the external situation has brought that out within you, right? And if you meditate on that as soon as it happens, what will happen is the cortisol will get less and less. I was someone that had terrible anxiety, very panicky kind of person, anxious person, was extremely depressed. When I was a kid, they tried to say I had ADHD and suicidal thoughts, and now I haven't had depression now since I was 28. So nearly 6 years, and it's myself that's done it. And this path is just getting better and better. And the people that have the big spiritual awakenings, they're no better than you. It's just that they've chosen to go within. You see, and that's why I made a website so that people can look at it. And these little hacks I get on awakenings, I put them on. I put everything on my website, and all I ask for is a donation. It's just common decency in that you would give a donation. I mean, there's people out there that charge lots of money for courses and stuff. I'm not going to do that. Everything's on my website. I didn't come here to make tons of money, but a likes donation is nice, And if I get enough of them, I can, I'm professional at this, but I can, it allows you to do it full time if you're getting paid for it. Because people that are doing this kind of stuff, truthers or people, but there are people out there that do try to charge too much money. They see it as a money making thing, and I don't do that. I'm not saying they should or shouldn't, but it's not what I'm here for. But a little donation's nice. But I'm just going to leave it there. For latest updates, talks, news, research, much, much more, please do check my website at www.lovelightfamily.com. Thank you.